Hello, BookTube. This is book tour number 7, shelf tour. Mix of Eastern Press and Folio Society. So I'll start right off here. This is Eastern Press. This is Boccaccio, the Decameron. I actually read this a few years ago. I think it was Motley Reads had a read along of it. And I read it in a different volume. Another one you'll see later in the tour with somewhat risque art by Boucher. It's a lovely book. Lovely book. These are stories set over a period of time from people escaping the plague in a Italian city. So a lovely read. I'm glad I finally get to read it, and a good BookTube channel that I'm not sure is around anymore. Maybe it is. Haven't seen it in a while. The second one is another Eastern Press. This is Daniel Defoe's Moll Flanders. Lovely thing. This has illustrations and drawings by Reginald Marsh. Let's see what we got. Oh, we get a ship in here, right? This one feels really good in the hand. It's a great deal of fun. A little raucous story about a woman who challenges the mores of the time, let's say. And then this one hardly needs any introduction on BookTube. And this is Jane Austen's Emma. I have other Jane Austen. I have the an Oxford set that I actually prefer, but this has the Fritz Krettel illustrations, which are appropriate and nice. So I couldn't resist having that. These things come with the Eastern Press notes. And in this case, a book plate I never bothered to put in, so you'd always do that, I suppose. This one I have not read, and I picked it up on a whim. And this is The Princess of Cleves, Madame de Lafayette, introduced by Jean Cocteau. Nice size, has a good feel in the hand. I don't know much about it. It's just, you're going to see that every once in a while. I'll grab something just because it looks like it's illustrations by Hermione David. It looks like something I might get to, you know. And but I've actually had this one for a while and have not gotten to it. To tell you the truth, I've forgotten all about it. So, pretty thing. Then this. I'm trying to move fairly fast here because there are quite a few. This is one of my favorite. This is Edgar Allan Poe's Tales of Mystery and Imagination. A nice big thing. It's part of the, it has a little book here. It was part, in this case, of the Southern Classics Library. Now, you associate Poe with all sorts of areas because he was a bit of a guy who moved around. Boston, Baltimore, Virginia. So it's very appropriate to be in the Southern Library. The thing of this is it has the Harry Clark illustrations, which I absolutely love. Other publishers have done these with his illustrations. Are very famous. And there'll be plenty of people on BookTube who know these illustrations. That's worth spending a little time on, actually. So absolutely beautiful volume, and one of my favorites. And yeah. Then a book I read just a few years ago. I have tried this many times and finally got through with it. It's Moby Dick by Herman Melville. Nice. You can't see the textures. Very nice end papers. Illustrated by Boardman Robinson. I really enjoyed it. Reading it as an older reader. The first time I ran into it, I think I was too young for it, and I'm thinking that happens quite a bit. It's about whaling, but it's about everything else too. And yeah, I think it was a book I needed to be a little more mature as a reader to enjoy, or to even understand, to be honest with you. Then here we have David Copperfield. I already get some of the gold coming off this one. This is not an Easton Press, and you can tell the minute you put it in your hands. This is the Franklin Library. And even the Franklin Library with their leather bound, and this is illustrated by Paul Deegan. David Copperfield, obviously, by Charles Dickens. Franklin Library, you can get really high-end. They had a partnership with Oxford for a while, I believe. Those I don't have any of. Not a ton of illustrations in here either. These are okay. They tend to be a little squared, and yeah, I like them, but I'm not. I like other things better. Then I got a couple of these. Now we're getting into Folio Society. A couple of these. This is Memoirs of a Georgian Rape by William Hickey. I actually found this one used. Love the marbling. Nice end papers. I'm not sure anybody goes around purposely describing themselves as a rake anymore. Engravings by John Lawrence, edited by Roger Hudson. Folio Society, 1995. These odd titles that I just loved the Folio Society for back then. Does seem like they're getting into a little more popular titles now, which is fine. They've got to do what they've got to do. But these old odd volumes I really like. Who knows, maybe they still do this one. Another one similar size, and this is part of the two that I have. This I dip in and out of. I don't think I've ever finished it. It is interesting. This is Diary of a Country Parson, again with these marbling, and by the Reverend George Woodford, and selected by David Hughes, engravings by Ian Stevens, and this is from 1992. So, just to give you some of that, that lifestyle. So, nice little woodcuts. Again, one of these little things that Folio was doing that I really get a kick out of. And then here's another one that goes right along with it. The Diary of a Village Shopkeeper, Thomas Turner. I need to do a little better showing these, don't I? And again with the... So there's a whole last three of them of a piece. So this is edited by David Vasey, and engravings by Miriam McGregor, and this is Folio Society, 1998. So they all hovered being published about in a few years of each other. And again, dipped in and out of it. And quite fun, again, a little off the beaten path for me. I'm not from England, but still fun. And then this one here, this is Experience of an Irish RM, and it's Somerville and Ross. Very pretty. I thought it was PM, but it's been a long time since I read this. So, selected and introduced by John O'Donovan, drawings by Paul Cox. This is London Folio Society, 1984, so a little earlier than those other ones. We're going to take a tumble there. Sharper than a ferret's tooth. This book just feels nice. Now we got a doozy of a set, so I'm going to have to... I'm doing all right on time. That's what I worry about with these tours. So this set Oscar Wilde set. Here's the box. A little dusty. Oh no, I guess it's just a little worn. I'll just pop them out here. You gotta be careful with these boxes in the air suction, but once you get them started, you should be alright. So, plays and poems. A good solid size thing. I have not read all of Oscar Wilde. This is Folio Society, London, 1993, edited by Merlin Holland. So, you know, I've read the obvious ones. I have not read all the plays. And the one right now I can think of is Lady Windermere's Fan. I don't know why I haven't read it, but I have not. But anyway, there's that. Then stories. I think this came out in a different color binding too, and this is 1993. Edited and introduced by Merlin Holland and illustration by Anne Archie Beck. Let's see, I'll give you some of the illustrations here. And again, I've read some of the stories, but not all of them. These are always sitting there if I'm in the mood. And then essays and letters, which I've barely dipped into, which is too bad. I need to get to it. And this is edited by Merlin Holland. So a lot of essays. So letters, they've got De Profundis and letters to the editor of the Daily Chronicle. And then you have essays. And it doesn't look like this. Oh, well, this one has photos. Very nice set. Very glad to have it. Like I said, I've got a little bit of work to do, especially on this third volume, where I really haven't done much. And I'm a guy who likes to read letters, so that's literary letters from artists and writers and historians that I know about here. And we got a few more left here. Excuse me. This is one of my favorite books ever. And this is Robert Graves. And Goodbye to All That. Introduced by Raleigh Trevelyan. There's a picture of Robert Graves, pretty well-known photo. Those of you know I, Claudius. Greek mythology he did. He did a lot of poetry. Absolutely wonderful. And actually, he was in World War I. It had a huge impact on him, obviously, and his whole generation. And this is just that story, and highly, highly recommended. It's just a classic of its kind. Then this is an odd book. I get a kick out of it. Found it by accident. A beautiful thing. And I know it's English Eccentrics by Edith Sitwell, and I know who she is. Introduced by Mervyn Horder and illustrated by Roland Pym. I know who she is. I know about the milieu a little bit, but this thing is just a hoot. It came out in 1958. This copy obviously didn't. It's a reprint. This from 1996. Just such an odd little book about just what it says it is. Eccentrics. It's like, the illustrations will give you an idea what a lot of this is like. Hoot of a book. Again, if you just need some fun, there you go. This would qualify. Then, this is also a wonderful book. This is The Spy's Bedside Book by Graham and Hugh Green. It's actually an anthology. So you can put it on the bedside. Beautiful cover. And just dipping out of it. So Graham Greene and Hugh Green edited it. It's introduced by Stella Remington, illustrated by Nick Hardcastle. 2006 Folio Society. So you've got John Buchan. I'm just going to W. Somerset Maugham, Robert Baden-Powell, Bernard Newman, T. Lawrence, Dennis Wheatley, Vladimir Petrov, Peter Fleming, James Fenimore Cooper, W.H. Auden. Oh my, they're just, well, here, there's that. You could always stop the video if you wanted. That, I'll hold it there long enough so you could if you'd like to. And that. This guy looks like Roger Moore. That wasn't on that. That wasn't by accident, was it? So yeah, good. If you like thrillers and spy fiction and some non-fiction. Then this thing's like interesting little thing. I found this and didn't have any clue about it. That's the fun thing about Folio. Nice cover, and this is The Hole in the Wall by looks like Arthur Morrison. I forgot. Yeah, Arthur Morrison. Introduced by Peter Forster and drawings by Val Bureau. Neat little volume. I'd like to get some of the illustrations here. It's actually an odd little size in the hand. Right here. And when did that come out? I should probably have said, right? It originally was published first 1902, and this is from 1978. So a little older on the folio here. Not the oldest I have, but getting there. And then the last thing off this shelf, and then we've got a bunch more on the next one. It's a very famous book that needs little or no introduction. And this is Cold Comfort Firm. And sort of a spare but lovely cover. And it's Stella Gibbons, Cold Comfort Firm, with watercolor drawings by Quentin Blake, and this is London 1977. So another one that's a little older in my collection. And give you an idea of the artist. It's this wonderful, wonderful book. Very, very well known. So glad to have this. I did not read it in this. Actually, I read it in an old paperback when I was younger. But anyhow, that's going to do it with shelf 7. The next shelf, number 8, will finish out the concentration. Let's see, it's all Folio Society, I believe. And then that will be it for that whole bookshelf, and we'll move on to another one. I hope you enjoyed this, and thank you, BookTube.